BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Kollman Gearhart, a former athlete and motivational coach. I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living out my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
Today's BTB short, I'm going to be discussing a profound quote that was said to me on a recent podcast I did, and that is, comparison is the teeth into joy. And it made me think a lot about how often I compare, how often we compare, and that the comparison game is just outright exhausting. And a lot of the things that we were talking about in that conversation that led to that point was around compassion. And compassion has so many different elements to it that can conquer comparison. And I want to talk through it, and I want to dive into some tips and understanding of the importance of compassion, how we can harness it, how we can channel it, and how it will impact you as the listener. And compassion is really the power to transform. Compassion isn't just a feeling, it's this force of change. When I started coaching, I'll be honest with you guys, I was not a very good coach. I was self-centered. It was all about me. And I was playing the comparison game. I was looking at all the coaches around me and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to emulate that person or be better than that person, or I'll sprinkle some of what this person does and sprinkle what some of that person does. And it just led me to doing a really crummy job of leading people. And it's frustrating because before I started coaching, I had a lot of compassion for people that were trying to do something extraordinary because I just had accomplished everything I ever wanted to accomplish as an athlete. But the moment I became a coach, I was trying to outdo other people that honestly have no relatability to what I've experienced. I stopped trusting myself, and instead I was comparing and trying to fit the mold. And I just wasn't a very good coach. I actually, 2 years into being a high school coach, I ended up being coach of the year for the league that I was representing at the time. And to be honest, the only reason why I felt like I won it when I was looking back is because we had an undefeated record. But my attitude, my selfishness, my inability to lead with compassion, I wasn't deserving of that award. And I think that there's a reason why that sits in my gut, because 16 years later into coaching, I've more often than not led with compassion, and it's completely changed not only my philosophy of how I've coached, but how it's impacted other people's lives. And the next piece to compassion that I want to walk through is compassion and the connection that it has to social. And it builds bridges to various different social connections that we see in our life. And compassion really brings us closer. It fosters understanding and creates supportive communities. I say all the time on the BTB project that impossible's nothing, that this is a mission, that we are in this together. Because when I was playing the game of tennis, I'll tell you right now, most of the more lonely moments of my life were when I was on the court, when I was competing against someone on the other side of the net, and I I felt alone in those moments. But the moment that I had a chance to give back based off of experiencing those moments and knowing that I could feed into people to maximize their comfort, to not feel alone like I did, it inspired the heck out of me. And that's the compassionate piece. I'll say it once and I'll say it again, is together we're stronger. So often in today's day and age, just a lot of division. But being able to put yourself around a group of people to grow stronger and have compassion lead that narrative will not only change any sort of team dynamic or corporate culture, job dynamic, it is literally the beacon to any and all success. Is put yourself around the people that you know are going to drive you to be who you want to become. Next is compassion as a stress relief. It's a stress buster, if I have to put it that way. And compassion isn't just for others, it's a gift you give to yourself. When you're comparing, how in the world is that a gift to yourself? You're actually hindering who you are, who you want to become, because you're trying to mix and mold your identity into someone that you're never going to be. We are 1 in 400 trillion when it comes to the odds of us being on this earth. And that one categorizes an individual, that you have an opportunity to do something great. You have an opportunity to hone in and channel a blessing, to take a breath, to have a heartbeat, to be on this earth. And in any sort of situation where you feel like there's anxiety or stress in your life, I want you to tap into that. And just imagine a world where stress doesn't dictate our lives. Compassion is part of the antidote to get us there. Being compassionate towards other, being compassionate towards yourself. That absolutely will drop your heart rate, your blood pressure, keep you even keel, keep you in alignment, and will absolutely change your life. And tying right into that, how does compassion help with your health? It literally has a healing power to it. I remember after those first couple years of coaching, I had a difficult circumstance in my life where my dad ended up getting really sick. I took him in for a pre-op physical for cataract surgery on his eyes. And when I took him in, he had his blood sugar tested and he had a blood sugar level of 600. A normal blood sugar in the human body is between 60 and 90, and he was almost 10 times that. And what I realized in that moment is my dad, because of a lot of stuff that we experienced as a family, with my mom being addicted to alcohol and him absorbing that, me absorbing that, my brother absorbing that, he internalized a lot of it. And it led to a point to where it almost took his life. He had almost complete organ failure. They were able to catch it just in time, but he became pre-diabetic and had to go on insulin. And my compassion, even though those first couple years of coaching wasn't ideal, my compassion changed because I went from being a coach of a high school team to being a coach of my dad. And there were a lot of tough conversations that we had because he was down in the dumps. He was insecure. He had a lot of self doubt. And I had to talk him through it. I had to be a leader in that moment. And it wasn't because he's not capable of being a leader. It was because he was vulnerable and needed compassion. And that compassion through those conversations led to an incredible healing process. And it's those acts of compassion that will contribute to a healthy and happier society in general. How often in your life are you really looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I find those 2 to 3 people a day that I feed into with compassion rather than feeding into those people with comparison? It's a powerful thing for you to think about when it comes to how compassion is working in your life. That also includes relationships. Compassion in everyday relationships is transforming lives one act at a time as long as compassion is being tapped into. It isn't limited to what's happening in each and every day. It starts with what you're doing at home, it starts in what you're doing in your career, what you're doing on your sports team. How are you leading with compassion in your life all around you? In the most important relationships, your parents, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, your colleague, your coach, your teammates. You deserve the same compassion that you offer others. Let that sink in for a little bit. Through all of that is self comparison. Through all of that is self compassion throughout life. And embracing growth through self compassion isn't just for a certain age or profession, it's a lifelong gift. The most fruitful moments in my life as a coach was between the first 2 years of coaching when I was comparing to the last 15 years of coaching to when I was leading with compassion. The most fruit that I could possibly bear. And it happened because I recognize the self centered, the egotistical, ego, all of the things that I wasn't and what I didn't want to be. I recognized that. And after I was able to lay the comparison piece to bed and lead with compassion, I all of a sudden saw this change in people's lives as I was helping them. Being able to help them through difficult circumstances of maybe divorce or trial and tribulation with their parents, tough circumstances at school, tough circumstances socially, but leading with compassion, learning to listen rather than say, led to just this unbelievable opportunity to help a lot of people. And that self compassion can help us navigate life's challenges with grace. I have so much respect and tip my hat to a lot of different situations that I can't necessarily relate to, but my empathy, my heart is always intact to helping people navigate really tough situations. And through that, there's this ripple effect of compassion. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Is imagine a world where compassion is our default response. Comparison, but compassion. What would happen in this world? I'll give you a hint. People will come together. People will be more vulnerable with each other. People will get on their hands and knees and help represent one another no matter the circumstances. We can be built to do that. But compassion is the key. Comparison is the teeth of our joy. I've missed out on a lot of joy in my life because I play the comparison game instead of the compassion game. So let's commit to making this vision of compassion a reality. one act of compassion at a time. Listen, if this BTB short inspired you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. Better yet, share the episode with a family member or friend. Tell them why it impacted you. Let them know how compassion can help them pay it forward. I believe that compassion is the key to the city that will not only impact a lot of people's lives, it will change a lot of people's lives, and it will change a lot of the narrative that we see on the day in and day out. And you can be part of that. I'm proud of each and every one of you. Thanks for checking out today's episode. And until next time, take care.
You're told I'll be a hard temptation.